Hello, everybody. I'm Sawneyrath11, and thanks to Retro Gaming Live TV, I will be bringing you Kirby Superstar Any Percent for RETROTHON. Now, you may notice I already have a file that's gone completely through the run. It will end up with 53% of the collection rate cleared. Exactly. I will be playing through 4 game modes instead of the 7 that you would normally see in 100% because Spring Breeze and Gourmet Race are not going to be required. I will be playing through Dynablade, Revenge of Meta Knight, Great Cave Offensive, and Milky Way Wishes. So, without any further delay, we're going to get this run going in 3, 2, 1, go. So, the first game mode that I'm going to do is Dynablade, and that's only because there is a mix early on in this game mode. And the ability that I'm going to attempt to mix for is the Jet ability. And if you give me just one moment, I'm going to have to concentrate for it. It's a 4-frame window that I have to hit. Got it. Okay. So, Jet is one of the fastest horizontal movement abilities in the game. By dashing, jumping into the air, and tapping Y at certain intervals, you are able to speed through so many of these screens with enemies and all sorts of other stuff. Jet also has some other uses that will come up later on in the run, but right now, our main focus with it is to just go fast. So, the vertical movement with Jet is not all that great, but it does get the job done. Now, here's one of the best applications of Jet, being mini-boss quick kills. By fully charging Jet, you are able to do a double jump, basically, if you have it fully charged when you're in midair. And this allows you to double jump underneath mini-bosses and instantly quick kill them. It deals 200 damage overall. So we are into the second stage of Dynablade, and I'm going to attempt something that I learned recently. Oh, and we got it first try. So I just clipped through a good chunk of this stage and skipped a 30-second auto-scroller. The way that works is whenever Kirby is holding a partner and is facing the opposite direction of a wall, it allows Kirby to clip through it. And this is our first mini-boss skip. By jumping and flying over the screen, it allows us to skip mini-bosses when available. So the end of stage minigame for Dynablade is really just mash as soon as you get into the cannon and fire with as little power as you can. So Cocoa Caverns here is a very, very high execution stage. If things go slightly wrong, spacing is off or anything like that, you can just get bodied by this stage very quickly. And so far, I have to say, this is going quite well. So, that clip, I've practiced for maybe a week, and that's actually the first time I've gotten it first try. Something else to mention with Jet is whenever you touch the ground, you will have to dash in order to regain your dash status before you jump into the air. And from there, you can then just continue tapping Y in the rhythm that you tap it, which is approximately every 14 frames. And this game runs at 60 frames per second to be able to continue moving. So, get another mini-boss skip in that final room to skip a Bugsy fight and finish this stage relatively quickly. So, stage 4 is going to mainly be focused on vertical movement. There's not too terribly much horizontal movement in it. outside of a couple screens, honestly. This one's one of the vertical movement screens. And then the other screen coming up is the biggest vertical movement screen. But I'm going to do this slightly differently, because the world record way of doing this is by going through and not breaking that bomb block. So it's ascending through the entire room itself as quickly as possible, no bomb block broken, jumping over a bunch of lovelies and making it through a whole bunch of other enemies. So one thing I haven't gone over yet is that you can jump up ladders, and jumping up them versus climbing them isn't too terribly much faster, but there are some slight differences on it. Some people just prefer to mash up them, others just climb them. I do a little bit of both. So, we've done all the main stages of Dynablade, and now we have this final stage that's actually not really a stage, but more of a boss fight. This is where Dynablade is going to be fought. So, here we go. I just do that for good luck. Got the star grab. Dynablade goes into the air. Couple of jet crackers, which is what that move is called. Dynablade is dead. So the way that I grab the star is by fully charging jet and releasing it. I can hit a D-pad input when close to an enemy, and that will cause me to grab a hold of the enemy, fly up into the air, slam it into the ground, and deal a massive amount of damage. That star hit Dynablade twice, as you may have noticed. And it dealt a massive amount of damage to the point that I could just fully charge jet, do 2 jet crackers, which is canceling jet early and firing out those blue and white energy balls, and hitting Dynablade with those. It was a really, really good Dynablade kill, and that was probably my best Dynablade time yet. So now we're on to Revenge of Meta Knight, which this game mode has another jet mix in it. Oh boy. So I'm gonna get bodied by all the enemies, and something to mention, you may have noticed me lose my power-up. That is completely RNG based. I have no control on whether or not I will keep a hold of my power-up. So now we're on to the first boss of Revenge of Meta Knight, which is Heavy Lobster, but this really isn't a boss. This is more an auto-scroller type thing. I'm just going to fly up into the air and mash Y to just slam my head against a wall, because I feel like it. Keeps me off screen, why not? So the halberd takes off and launches me into the Great Gardens, and this is the first stage where jet spacing really becomes a huge thing. And jet spacing is making sure my movements are in a manner spaced apart to where I do not collide with any enemies and take damage. Since losing my power-up is completely RNG based, if I happen to take damage with an enemy and lose my power-up in water, then I will have to be forced to either remix for jet or wait to get jet again. So now we have an auto-scroller, and auto-scrollers are boring, but there is a fun thing that can be done with this auto-scroller, and you will see it momentarily. So right now I'm off the screen just navigating through the auto-scroller. Oh hey, I'm back on the screen, and I'm in the ground? So you might be wondering, how does that work? Well, let's just say Kirby Superstar does some magical things. Oh, crap. Ooh, that was almost bad. So, by jumping and hovering, I can allow myself to come back onto the screen and immediately be clipped out of bounds. And I tried to kill that Scarfy, which is what the name of the cat enemy is. and I kept missing my hits on it. But we have Wispy Woods followed by Twin Woods. It's a very, very easy fight. So, yeah, that's a thing. So, remember the mini-boss quick kill mini-boss quick kill that was shown in Dynablade? That's about to come back here in this stage of Revenge of Meta Knight. So, the next room has two bonkers enemies or two bonkers mini-bosses. And my goal is to get a quick kill on each of them. And this is going to be completely RNG based. The first one is absolutely free, the second one is not so much. I jumped at the wrong time. I got good RNG, but because I jumped at the wrong time, it did not work out. But that's okay. So, both of those bonkers are gone, and I'm able to continue moving through the stage, which there really isn't too much left. I've got this screen that's a double jump and a bunch of jet headers, and then another screen that I jump up a ladder, quite literally, and go into a cannon. And we're about to be reunited with an old friend that we defeated to fly us back to the halberd. So, the story for this mode is that Meta Knight is trying to use the halberd to take over Dreamland, and Kirby is trying to stop Meta Knight from doing that. So, in doing so, we get launched off the halberd, and now we're back on it. Because Dynablade doesn't harbor any ill will, even though we absolutely destroyed her earlier. And so everything's good, I guess. Oh no, I actually got a mini-boss. Well, that's okay. That's not going to take too long. I did not use jet header going up enough. That's actually the first time in a long time that's happened, but, you know, after getting the clip in the second stage of Dynablade first try, I can't be that upset. So we're going to go for another set of mini-boss quick kills here, and this one actually will lead into the explanation of how to kill the upcoming boss quickly. So I quick killed the Judo Kid, or Jew Kid, and then grabbed his body and thrusted it straight into Poppy Bros Sr. The way I did that is by starting to charge jet and then holding any directional input, I'm able to grab onto an enemy that's close by, put them onto the thrusters, and just blast them behind me with ridiculous force. That is actually used to quick kill combo cannon, which you saw, and is the only real use of that. Those two uses are all that you will see of that specific ability from Jet. But now we're in another auto-scroller. The only difference is this one is wind. And now we are going to be on to the most fun mini-boss in my opinion, even though it's technically a boss, Heavy Lobster. And we're going to be fighting it with Jet, instead of a power that would be used later that we're also going to get here in just a few moments. So, lots of tight movement here in order to make certain cycles per se. And now we're on to Heavy Lobster. Now, there is a bit of a meme with this boss, and it is 100% blocks. So the objective in 100% blocks is to destroy every single one of these star blocks in the auto-scroller. And I'm going to do exactly that, because 6 years of playing this game, you kind of get bored on some of the attempts, and you're like, well, what can I do to have some fun during this auto-scroller, or any auto-scroller for that matter? And the answer is, I'm just going to destroy the blocks, because it gives me something to do. I'm far enough ahead of the auto-scroller. So, heavy lobster, bit of a pain. I should have tried to get out of there a little bit quicker, but that's okay. So, not the best, but not the worst. I can't be upset because I did get that mini-boss fight. So now we are on to the back end of Revenge of Meta Knight, which is really just the back third of the game. We're now traveling underneath the halberd in order to get to the main part where the reactor is. So I'm actually going to create a Capsule J, despawn it, and we're picking up the greatest ability in the game, Plasma. And you might be wondering, why is Plasma the greatest ability in the game? And the simple answer to that is DPS output. Plasma is a very strange ability in the respect of the damage that Plasma does is based by the number of D-pad inputs made. Anything over 15 inputs will give the giant orb that you keep seeing me fire. 11 to 15 will give me the helix that you just saw, and then anything below that really doesn't matter. So we're going to use this ability for the rest of the run until forced into another ability. So this is main reactor. The objective here is to get rid of the floor turrets as quick as I possibly can. And have the laser hit the core of the reactor itself. And that's done. So now the reactor for the halberd is down. The plane is starting to descend from the air fairly rapidly. And now all the crew is freaking out. Meta Knight is trying to get the crew to calm down. And we're back in another auto-scroller, where I can just make sure I'm warmed up, ready to go for Meta Knight. Which, you know, I'd have to say, I think I'm good to go. Especially after how quickly I was charging Plasma there. And one of the biggest things with auto-scrollers with Plasma is it's a time to show off. So we have one more mini-boss gauntlet, and then we will be on to the big fight against Meta Knight himself. Now these are the Meta Knights. And I messed up the last set of Meta Knights there a little bit, but the rest of them went fairly easy. One thing to mention with Plasma is the sparks that fire out behind me also deal damage. Now we're on to the Meta Knight fight. This fight normally would force me into using sword, but because I can make a Plasma Wisp partner, that allows me to regain Plasma and fight Meta Knight with a much more comfortable ability. And just like that, Meta Knight's gone. So, now we're on to the escape sequence from the halberd. And the escape sequence has us on Wheelie. Wheelie is the other ability, if I'm specifically Wheelie Rider, that has the fastest horizontal movement in the game. It is equivalent to that of Jet. It might be slightly faster. I am not 100% certain on that. But every time I jump, it acts like arm pumping does in Super Metroid. So just a couple more jumps and we're going to be out of this and onto the next game mode, which will be Great Cave Offensive. And there is a mix that I could do here in Great Cave Offensive in order to get Wheel or Jet, but I don't do it. I stick with Wing, and then I use Jet throughout the rest of the Great Cave. So the first couple screens are going to be abilityless, and then the screen that's coming up, I'm going to inhale a bird on and obtain Wing. So now I'm a bird. So, and in 100%, this would be the Resident Sleeper portion of the run, because it's the treasure hunt. It's collecting every single treasure in this area. 60 of them. It gets a little boring, if you will. So there's a mini-boss quick kill, and here comes that whole jumping on ladders thing. But because I'm actually mashing pretty heavily, I can jump up the ladders really fast. So, fun thing with Wing is that dashing and jumping into the air acts very similarly to Jet Header, but it's not quite as fast as Jet Header. So, Fatty Whale, just a few good hits, and that's going to be it for Fatty Whale. Wing is great for vertical movement, but that's about it. So now we're going to be on to a cart skip. And I actually need to give a shout out to a friend here. And that friend is Canon11. He is the person who kept giving me so much flack for not doing cart skip, and then I finally learned it, and he went, "Hey, you're doing cart skip." So that was a thing. So now we're on to the, I like to call this the Crystal Cavern portion of Great Cave Offensive. And now we're done with the Crystal Cavern portion of Great Cave Offensive, because we're on to the boss, which is Battle Windows, or as I like to call this, Computer Virus. Hey, the slime actually attacked. So that's something you don't get to see very often. And I missed? Okay. Hey, that's something you don't get to see very often either, is I missed. The minecarts are quite satisfying, but they are not fast. Ah. So I got a sound glitch there, because I went to shield at the same frame that I hit my full charge on Jet. And now I'm just showing off a little bit. You can fully charge Jet while in the air and then go to double jump. And that will just allow you to infinitely jump. So, there's the second cart skip done. And now for the worst section of Great Cave Offensive, and we're done. So, the old tower section, I like to call it the worst section in 100%, because that's the section that I have the worst memories in, because I run both 80% and 100%. And in 100%, there actually was a route that forced so many deaths on me, because it was just bad. But we are on to the final area. We go through this middle door on the bottom, because we're going to the final boss of Great Cave Offensive. And you might, if you know this game, you might be wondering, how am I going to kill him with Jet? And the only thing I can tell you is, just watch, you will find out. Jet is broken for a couple different reasons. This is one of them. So, Wham Bam Rock actually has a hitbox that extends off screen. And by fully charging Jet and releasing it, I am able to hit Wham Bam Rock with the Jet Cracker. And that Jet Cracker combined with a Jet Header deals a massive amount of damage, allowing me to get him into the 50% phase, which is phase 2 of the fight, really, in the first 2, maybe first 3 slams. I got it in 2 that time. And then from there, I just used Jet Cracker to finish off Wham Bam Rock in the game mode, and now we're on to Milky Way Wishes. Milky Way Wishes is the last game mode of the run. It has what are known as deluxe copy abilities. These copy abilities are abilities that you can reuse over and over again in order to swap between abilities. And this is extremely useful. Now, there are 3 abilities that I can get, but I will only be getting 2 because I like showing off. I'm not going to lie. The 2 abilities I'm getting, one of them I already have, it's Jet, and the other we saw earlier in the run, I will be getting Plasma as well. And just like that, Kracko is done. Super Candy is overpowered because it gives invincibility. And combine that with the damage output that Jet gives, it's a little unfair. So that was Sky High. The next planet in order is going to be Hotbeat. The order of planets that I do is the same as it would be in 100%. And I'm going to hug a lava block. Don't mind me. I was a little cold, apparently. So we're going to grab another Super Candy, become immune to these lava blocks, and run on them for just a little bit, because that's how things work, right? And now we're on to what really is my favorite part of this run. I would like you guys to throw out a color. And that color is going to be what color Gamelio Arm spawns as. So take a color guess. I'm going to say green. I'm not going to comment on this. What the heck? So, with the damage output from Jet, Gamelio Arm goes down in 5 hits, which is pretty nice. And Gamelio Arm gave me the best possible pattern for that fight. So we're going to go on to Mechai. And this planet has the other ability that I will be grabbing, unless I feel like grabbing the third ability. I'll have to check my time when I enter the last planet of the first half. So, one thing I don't think I went over that I did in Dynablade at the beginning of the run is fully charging Jet, double jumping, and hitting something that's below me. With really good timing and very good placement, when you double jump with Jet, it actually hits stuff that's 2.5 blocks below you. Mini boss quick kill on that Iron Knuckle to get Plasma. And then we're going to do one more mini boss quick kill here on a Bonkers. Switch back into Plasma. And we're going to fight a familiar boss. And then switch out to Jet during the fade out. It doesn't save any time, it's just what I tend to do. It's either on fade out or it will be when I enter the fountain area. So we are on to Cavios. This is the last planet of the first half of Milky Way Wishes. This is Mini-Boss Refight City. And my goal is going to be to quick kill each one of these mini-bosses as quickly as I can. And the way that I'm doing that is I will go into most of these without fully charging Jet. But this one I will go into it with because the bonker spawns so low. I am going to go ahead and pick up Hammer. So I'm going to have 3 abilities instead, because I don't feel like showing off now. I looked at my time, and I would much rather play this safe. So, after quick killing all these mini-bosses, I am going to head through this little hammer, or not hammer area, little cave area, off to the side, and... oh hey! This boss looks familiar. Too bad he's about to die really quick. Just like that. Plasma is overpowered as can be. With that though, we're halfway through Cavios as it is. We're getting close on closing in on the end of the run. So, we're going to go back to the upper 3 planets, which are Floria, Aquilus, and Half Moon. Half Moon is probably my least favorite planet in the game, but Half Moon also has some of the coolest techniques that you can do in the game. The gimmick with Floria is everything is season-based, and the only way you can get to the boss is if you have the season set to autumn. And there are specific doors that transition the season. So, Plasma making short work of Twin Woods, where Jet made pretty short work of them earlier, is quite nice. So from here, I'm gonna head to Aquilus, and this is the obligatory water planet, because we all need water levels. Everybody enjoys their water level. There we go. Finally got that strat again. That is a strat that was discovered back in 2014, if I remember correctly, that is the optimal strat for getting through that section. Now, if I had wheel, I could attempt to do clips in here, but yeah, no, I don't think y'all want to see me try to clip. So, I'm going to switch back to Jet. And we're actually almost done with Aquilus. We only have this room before the boss to go. And there's actually a shortcut over to the boss area for this room that goes exactly as you just saw. Now, if this were 100%, I would have been picking up Beam right there. Oh, baby. And there's the Fatty Whale 1 cycle. Because I got the setup to be able to do that really fast and easily. Good old 1 cycles. Gotta love them. Alright. So, second to last level. Half Moon. This level is going to start off with me flying up to the top of the next screen and counting out 13 short bursts. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 2, 3. And just like that, we're through the first room. That saves approximately half a second over taking the warp star that's in that room. It's somewhat difficult until you... Well, no, I will say it is difficult to learn, but after you actually learn it, the room's not that difficult to execute. There is another strategy I could do in this room, which is not taking the warp star and flying through it. But yeah, I'm not that confident yet. So we're gonna switch back to Jet. Yeah, Shasta, there's a warp room in that first room of Half Moon. I'll have to show you where it is at some point. So, this auto-scroller has wind going upwards because it's a vertical auto-scroller, and yeah, it went real fast. Why did I switch to that? I need hammer. Oh crap. Okay. Yep, you did exactly what I thought you would do. So, the Evil Knight decided to defend instead of attacking, which kind of defeats the purpose of me grabbing hammer. So, it's okay. It's unfortunate, but not the end of the world. So now we're going to switch back into Plasma for the final boss of the run. And we actually have one auto-scroller and one more boss to go through before we get to the end of the run. What I would have done if the Evil Knight had not guarded is I would have done a hammer flip, which is the attack I was using. And then I would have dashed and hit the A button in order to throw my hammer. So, welcome to the Gradius portion of the run. We're 36 minutes in, and we're just getting to Gradius. So yeah, that's a thing. And I'm going to be trying to kill all the enemies in here because I feel like it, and I feel like it. And so far, I haven't missed one. So, we're looking good on that. But if I touch pretty much anything, I'm going to take a decent amount of damage right now. I can't really afford to take any damage because I'm going to be doing a couple of damage boosts on the upcoming boss, the Heart of Nova. This boss is an auto-scroller boss as well, and it's a fairly nasty one at that. It's going to keep scrolling until I kill 5 of the nodes. But on the 5th node, it'll come to a stop and then turn around like it just did. Well, I took damage. Going through that blue node is extremely difficult to do, but it happens. With that, though, we're on to the final boss. And time is going to be as soon as I give the final hit to the final boss. So here we go. Five. He loves me! That's time. So, to explain how that final boss works, marks will always spawn in the center of the screen, which is... it's low enough for me to be able to jump and fire a fully charged plasma blast to hit Marks' feet. Then, after I do 5, then he will teleport, and where he teleports will give me an idea as to whether or not I can do the 1 cycle kill on him. And because he gave me a good teleport, that allowed me to do the 1 cycle. If I hadn't been able to get the 1 cycle, what would have happened is he would have flown into the air, he would have started dropping rose thorns, and it would have just taken about 12 more seconds. Now I've got the okay to show off something, so this is going to be very interesting. Also, I've got to reset apparently, because it decided to crash. So we're going to go back into Milky Way Wishes. And we are going to go to Hot Beat. We're going to grab the sleep ability. So from here, I'll hit R and then X to go back to the map. Now I've got the sleep ability right now as my stored ability. We're going to enter Nova from here. And that's it. The game's dead. So what this does, because there we go. This is known as the sleep glitch. This crashes the game entirely and causes some very interesting noises. So we're going to reset the game. And boom. My files are gone just like that. Rip audio, rip save files. But that is my third best time that I've posted for any percent. So, I do want to thank you all for watching. I want to thank Retro Gaming Live TV for allowing me to play this in the marathon, and I ask you guys to stay tuned for Shasta, who's going to be bringing you some more Kirby action